Good evening. Our next session on entrepreneurship at the university as a catalyst for innovation. And our distinguished speaker is Mr. Steve Stevens from Ghent University. He actually coordinates the Center for Entrepreneurship for Student Entrepreneurship and Ghent University under the name DO. He dedicated his entire career in coaching student entrepreneurs, and there is no doubt we will hear his remarks with extreme interest. Welcome. Very nice to have you with us, and thank you for dedicating this time slot especially for this event. May I ask you to start by providing us an overview of the Student Entrepreneurship Center that you direct actually, and just tell us a bit about the center and what sets it apart from competition.
Sure. Kalispera. Good evening. Nice to be welcomed this way. Thank you very much, Mr. Tzonis. Indeed, my name is Steve Stevens. Easy to remember. I work at Ghent University at the Center for Student Entrepreneurship, DO, which tells itself we make students do stuff. So we let students start up their own businesses while studying at the university. And it's not only students that we support, it's also PhDs, researchers, postdoctoral researchers. So people at the university get the opportunity to be supported in starting up their own business. And we do so we started actually with this by making them aware that entrepreneurship is important for us. This is a crucial thing at the university to really make sure that you let them understand that you think entrepreneurship is important. It seems a very small thing, but telling this is very crucial so that students know that the university is open to it. In order to do so, we created a special status at the university, a status which is actually giving them the opportunity to better combine studies or doctoral studies with their own business, which means that, for example, for the bachelor and master students, if they have exams, sometimes they can reschedule that. So it's like for top athletes who need to go to the Olympics, they have to train. It's sometimes on the same days of the studies, well, they get some freedom on this. We provide them with coaching. There are internal acceleration programs, hackathons, and many other events supporting them, as well as co-working space and materials to support them. So a lot of things. And on the Ghent level, what is actually extra, we cooperate with all the universities in the same city. So we provide on city level space, but also help to support all these people. And it's not only us doing it, it's also external experts helping out in this. We focus on education with training for the students. We have courses especially focusing on entrepreneurship. There are train-the-train sessions, especially for the professors, to let them cooperate in this entrepreneurship. There is a student cooperative company for those who don't have a tax number yet and need some extra support. They can start with the tax number of this company. There are awards every year where we promote the best entrepreneurs among these students and PhDs. We work internationally on European level, especially with EIT consortia. And we measure as well what we do in all these support mechanisms, as to show that actually there are also some results coming out of this. And the results are okay. And then, last but not least, the Foundry is a startup hub where they can meet each other, meet us, meet coaches and mentors. And we brand this as Ghentrepreneur, one ecosystem for the city of Ghent in Belgium and all the young entrepreneurs living there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. when you started working, when you've actually been recruited by your institution, correct me if I'm wrong, your mission was to make it entrepreneurial, whatever
Yes.
it is. Could you please comment a bit on this and let us know how you approached this challenge and whether or not you achieved your actual mission, your actual aim?
Indeed, my personal mission was to make the university become an entrepreneurial university. And yeah, we all know the definition of entrepreneurial universities, but this is a big aim. When I started at university, I thought it would have been easy to start with this because I worked before at the University of Applied Sciences, where we created somehow the same. So I came into Ghent University, which is a more traditional university, existence of more than 200 years. It's ranked on the Shanghai list very high. But what we saw is actually that changing such a huge organization, which hosts more than 45,000 students, 7,000 employees, entrepreneurship is only part of the cake. And changing something at the university, well, I get a quote of Ed Brinksma, which was the rector of Twente University, one of the most important entrepreneurial universities in Europe. He stated that changing a university is actually like moving a graveyard. It's very direct, his message, but actually it was to mention that it's not so easy to move an old and traditional organization. So I thought it would take like 2 or 3 years. I have to say that I'm here now for 10 years. And at this moment, we feel like Ghent University is really becoming entrepreneurial. So it takes quite some time because it's changes at policy level, changes in education, focus in research. It's also putting the money in these things, creating incentives for the people working in the university, hiring entrepreneurs as mentors, and many other stuff. So it's not built in one day. You need to build up over time.
Excellent. I'm sure what you just described is extremely useful and informative for the vast majority of academic institutions, especially in Greece and globally, I presume, that actually target to introduce entrepreneurship into their own ecosystems, but occasionally they don't know which path to follow. I said in the small introduction I've made when we got connected that literally you spend your entire career coaching student entrepreneurs. So could you please try to provide some kind of advice to both students and mentors in Greece that do their first steps in the specific area? And if you don't mind, just identify, a few areas on which they should focus and possibly traps they need to be aware and try to avoid.
Yes, sure. I know that at many universities, when it is asked to the complete organization to support, for example, students in entrepreneurship, that for a lot of professors, this feels like a strange thing, as it may seem that students, if you push them into entrepreneurship, they won't study that much anymore. Or if you push PhDs into entrepreneurship, maybe their research won't be so good anymore. I can tell you that it's the opposite. If you really empower them, if you let them do what they are passionate about, then their studies will be even better. Then their PhDs, their research will be even better. And there is support mechanisms to see how you can change things at university. This is a tool of the European Commission, HE Innovate, and the OECD. OECD does country reviews where you can see a lot of insights on how to install entrepreneurship at your university, how to innovate. And this helped us actually to install this at university too. You cannot do everything from scratch from the first moment. So you need to decide what your strategy will be, how you can link this with your regional ecosystem. What strengths your ecosystem has. For example, is there a specific focus area in the region which is strong, which you can link with entrepreneurship? Can you involve students in that? For the few students, I would say, dare to dream, dare to come up with your ideas. That's the first step. And then for the professor, I would advise, like, empower the student in their passion. If they are passionate about something, let them do so. But be critical, because they like to get challenged. Don't tell that it's all good. Give them the right insights in what is working well and what is not working. For the students, I would always tell them, like, as a student, there is not that much things to lose yet. Many of them are not married yet. Many of them haven't got children or their own mortgages or whatever. So there's plenty stuff they can still do without losing that much. They can only lose their bikes at the street. So they need to be willing to dare to experiment. And that's the thing to our students that is important. First, experiment with a small scale prototype of what you are aiming to do. And then search if this is correct, if this is working or not. And if you see it's feasible, then you can scale it. So you won't lose too much time and money. So that's especially focusing on the students. And for the professors and academic people, I would advise, well, there is a lot of research, but not that much on, for example, entrepreneurial education. So there is still a lot of things to do in that, but keep measuring what you are aiming to do. Find your own purpose, find your own goals, and put an action plan with it.
Excellent. Any specific traps for mentors?
Well, a trap sometimes is, for example, that students are not looked like as real entrepreneurs. Sometimes they believe, like, students, they are just playing a little bit. Whereas actually, if you really give if you really empower the students, then a lot of things can happen, even in cooperation with companies. Sometimes it's interesting for companies as well, if they need an innovation within their company, not to do the research themselves, but cooperate with young startups who have the ambition and the passion to do things. So make them aware of the fact that you are really listening to them, that you are really willing to cooperate with them and guiding them towards entrepreneurship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stevens. So besides coordinating the JU Center for Entrepreneurship, as a person and professional, obviously, either in Ghent University or before or in parallel ways, you are the founder of several creativity-boosting, entrepreneurship-oriented programs for higher education. And personally, I think it would be extremely interesting for all of us to hear a bit more about them.
Yes, well, in the past years, I've been part of education. In the beginning, it was education for economists, for students in economy. There, the link towards entrepreneurship seems really direct. Fact is that in an economy, in economical studies, a lot of ideas pop up for students, but what they lack is most of the time insights in products and the real technical side. So putting students together, technical oriented and economical oriented, can really make good teams out of them. If you then add the social part as well, then you can work on the impact part towards sustainability, but also social things, societal things. I've been organizing, and what I'm most proud of is like international seminars. for several universities to come together. I had to look in the past to be a co-coach in a program of Cambridge University, where I learned from them how they supported the PhDs towards entrepreneurship. They also, well, I thought it would have been very formal, but when I was supporting in there, I was a co-coach in there, I saw that actually it was quite a lot of fun, because they wanted to stimulate the passion of those PhDs. What are they passionate about? So I introduced this in the seminars that we did as well. You need to combine the theory and make sure that these students get it and that they can actually come up with direct applications, but also put some fun in it, because it's hard work to be an entrepreneur and you really need to challenge in that as well. But sometimes you need to promote the passion as well. Hackathons are done a lot. And some people say they work, some people say they don't work. We found out when supporting students and PhDs by creating hackathons that it actually worked. We did some research on that. And even after the hackathon and 3 months later, and we saw actually that the result 3 months later towards the intention of entrepreneurship became even bigger compared to a similar group that didn't do the hackathon. So this is really also because of the passion that you stimulate in such a program. This is really important to do so. And make sure that they don't watch only their own region. Make connections even internationally, that the minds go open and that all are really inspired to do interesting stuff.
So thank you very, very much for allowing us to share your passion about entrepreneurship in a higher education context with you. And we look forward to welcome you in Thessaloniki next time for more in-depth discussion and analysis. Thank you very much.
Feel free to contact me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.